initiatives under that. TAM is also under this. They have a cybersecurity excellence. Any cybersecurity startups, they have a cybersecurity center of excellence also that they can leverage. Rich, we discussed already. So they are doing a cohort for medical devices and diagnostic startups. If you are that startup, please do apply there. T-Works, we've already given overview. POC details are already mentioned. You can directly reach out to them there. Task, we discussed. So this is, CII Center of Excellence for Startups is operating from this building, and currently they have an engagement with Cabin Care. If you are a startup which is into recycling or sustainability related solutions, please feel free to apply here. It's a market access opportunity. These are the overview of various POCs. So guys, so now after this engagement, we're going to start the talk soon. For a health tech startup, we have a separate we have identified. So driving this bi-weekly meetups for multiple sectors.
You have no idea the level of energy I need. How is everybody doing? All right, more like it. Thank you so much for coming down wherever you have come from. Who here thinks they have come from the farthest point where we are? कौन सबसे दूर से आया? Claims. Where have you come from? Where have you come from? Sorry? Okay, all right. Anyone who can beat that? Anyone? Oh, ये तो बहुत सारे हाथ हैं. Okay.
Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to speak about the founder mindset. When I say the founder mindset, I am not talking about founders. I am talking about a mindset. And you can actually have the founder's mindset or the entrepreneur's mindset irrespective of where you are in life. Entrepreneurship is not a profession. It's a state of mind. It's how you think about life, how you go about doing things that determines whether you are an entrepreneur or not. I was a student at ISB in 2005, 2006, which is why I have such a fond attachment to the city, to of course ISB as an institution, to what it's built. And back then, I did not know whether I wanted to become a founder or not. I had no idea that I would be standing here today after so many years speaking on the founder mindset. I took up a job, unpredictable about you. And to tell you what these two words mean and how it comes to define the founder's mindset, I will actually use a story. So for about 4 or 5 years, I was teaching at a business school in Gurgaon, digital marketing. So I was a professor of digital marketing, and it was an elective in a business school program. And the final exam of that digital marketing 6-month course was a simple question I used to ask. And the question was, lists. And you're like, boss, मतलब एक ऐसे सवाल में कौन कैसे fail हो सकता है? List at least 3 things that you've learned from the course. It's the simplest thing that you can do. For those who may know the answer, please stay quiet because I've shared this story multiple times. Why do you think I would fail everybody except 6 students in this exam? What could be the reason? One of the reasons is I'm not crazy. What could be the reason I would fail students in an exam that says list at least 3 things that you've learned in this course? Yeah?
The thing is that answer to the very simple question need not to be simple.
Okay, you try to be very smart when you say that. I totally get it, but that's not what I was looking for. But I get the drift. I get that they learned course. When my question was, list at least 3 things that you have learned from the course. This is exactly what each one of us does every single day of our lives. Somebody out there, your manager, your parents, your friends, your relatives, the world outside is constantly telling you, just get these 3 things done and you are successful. Get the funding and you're successful. लिख दिए, exam pass हो गए, हम rock star हैं, professor बेवकूफ है, and it was just done. But only 6 students were like, who the F is Ankur Warikoo to tell us what we learned from the course? He's asked for 6, which is a leading thing, but I learned 7, 9, 13, maybe even things done and you do it, you're predictable. If your investor tells you to hit these metrics and you do them, you're predictable. If your customers give you feedback, you work on it and get it done, you are predictable. You're not doing somebody any favor. You're not doing anything that was not expected from you. You're doing something that is required from you. The only way that you truly become a founder is when you become unpredictable. When you actually cannot even predict yourself what's going to come out of you. You sit in that zone, you're given a mandate, and you outdo yourself. That is when you become unpredictable. But unpredictability is a double-edged sword. It can go either way. So you have to find a mechanism where this unpredictability becomes positive. It's a net positive impact, not a net negative impact. Because you can go unpredictable and lose everything that you have. Who does that the best? Who is the most unpredictable and ends up almost always losing? Gamblers. That's what it is. That's why casinos recognize unpredictability is actually a drug. It's very seducing once you get used to it, but it is a downward spiral faster than most other things. Friends, if you remember a special moment in your life in the last 1 year, raise your hand if you remember a special moment in your life last 1 year. In the last 12 months, you remember some special moment in the last 1 year. And that's why it settled in you. They were also special because they were positive. And that's why it's registered with you. If you do something that's predictable, it is very quickly going to fade away. How many of you here have had a job in your life? How many of you here have worked before or are working right now? Great. You know what I mean. It's so easy to fall into the predictability of a job. You show up every day, punch in, do your moments that stay in our life, in our mind, are always unpredictable. And that is what you need to do as a founder. So if an investor tomorrow, or let's say you have an investor pitch, how many of you here are planning for an investor pitch in the next 3 to 6 months? Okay, almost all of you guys, you are coming up with a pitch deck. Guess who else comes up with a pitch deck? Close to zero. It's like your resume. How many of you here have built a resume? Quite a few of you. It's the most disastrous document you built in your life. क्योंकि सबका सेम लगता है. Class 5 won the elocution contest, was ranked number 1, was saying Mary had a little lamb. And this is how I stood. Was promoted 13 times in the last 48 hours and is now the junior most employee in the company. We're always just going rah-rah around what we have done. And we actually believe that that is the document to best represent ourselves, and yet it doesn't work. Why do you think it doesn't work? I wish I could share my resume, and I don't have it here, but if you could just look up, because I recently posted about it. When I was a student at ISB, I was like, boss, I am not going to listen to the placement committee and sign up for this so boring resume template. Because guess who else has that template? Everyone else. So I can't trick myself into believing, oh, because I did this in my life, I am going to stand out. That's not how life works. I have to start with breaking the template itself. So I came up with my own template. My resume was actually images of post-its that I had put on a piece of paper that were just snippets about what I had done. Scanning through those resumes is going to make that happen, and you did. Everyone who used to apply at Nearby, which was the startup that I was running before I stepped down as the CEO, was never asked, oh, please send us your resume because we feel that that's the best document in the world. No. We actually sent them a list of 20 questions that had nothing to do with their work profile. These 20 questions were all about who they are as an individual. And everybody, irrespective of role, experience, salary, got those same 20 questions. 20 questions like, what's the worst thing about you? Pick between money and power. Pick between speed and perfection. If you had to live your life without one of the 5 senses, which one would you be okay living without? These are random shit questions. So guess what happened? Only 27 people, only 27% of people replied to those questions. And we're like, awesome, we love that. Because we never wanted to spend time with the remaining 73. We don't care how good they are. 20 questions today when I applied to this company. And guess what would be the next question? Which company? And suddenly those 20 questions became our way of positively, unpredictably becoming our source of hiring. Over the last 5 years of Nearbai's existence, we have hired close to about 680 people, replaced, new positions, and so on. We've never worked with a hiring agency. The entire HR function is managed by 2 people, one of whom is aged 22 and the other one 26. We've never had a head of HR because everything was about, we don't want to be a service function, we want to be a product company. And if we are designing a function such as HR, which is so critical, I don't want to be like, oh, tell us what your problem is, because if it's important enough, we will solve it for you. We want to be a product company. When was the last time Google asked you what they should do in their next product sprint? Never. They predict what you want because they are keenly focused on what you care about. And they're just shipping every 2 weeks like a product company. And you want your most important function to be exactly like that. Why should it be a policy-making engine? Just an example, but such a powerful one. I can go on, but we don't have enough time. It's 3:15. I want to have a lot more conversations. But the only thing that I want to leave you with is, please don't trick yourself into believing that just because you started a company, you are a founder. I know of so many people who are working in jobs that are the best founders I will ever find. And I know of so many founders who are not going to be hired by even the worst companies on earth because they have the worst employee mindset. And I don't say this in contempt of who employees are, but don't believe that you being predictable is going to make you win. About this. Not settle into a template. Instead, try and challenge the template in order to define what could work and perhaps be a far better way of doing the same thing that I have always come to believe is true. Thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for coming down all the way from US. And let's have the questions coming. Thank you. Thank you. All right, questions. How are we doing the questions? Are we passing the mics around? Ask your question and then go back to where you're seated. So whosoever has a question, please come up to this, form a queue, and we will then start asking questions. Wonderful. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. If a startup, we start any startup, founders have already like something डर होता है कि जैसे कि एक टेक फाउंडर होता है, एक बिजनेस फाउंडर होता है, but a business founder is solely starting the startup and he bring a new.
I think I have the rare distinction in India to have had multiple founders recruited and then also fired. So I've had a lot of experience with founders as such. And here is how it works. One, you need to be very sure that someone is founder material. Just because you're missing a founder, don't make someone a founder. Just because you don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend in your life, you don't make some random person your girlfriend, boyfriend, right? You still go through a period of courtship. It's critical. So if you are evaluating someone for something as critical as being a founder of your company, you don't do that by, and if it does, founder, I want you to win. I'm coming in with that trust, but I can't on day one give it to you. That's number one. Number two, equity. Don't give away your equity क्योंकि वो founder बन चुका है. That person has come in much later than you. Their risk is much lesser than you. Even if it is significant risk, it is still lesser than you. You have to vest the founder, just as you would vest the employees as well. And somebody who doesn't agree with that, that's a red sign and a red flag right there itself. Any founder who says मुझे day one पे पूरी equity चाहिए is not a founder, because they would want to then leave on day two with all the equity that they have vested, and you'll be left with nothing. I've seen so many teams get killed because of that. West founders as well. There is no shame in doing that. अच्छा काम लग रहा है. That's a poor way of making an important decision for your business. So don't be flippant about it. Form a board of experts who can thoroughly evaluate that individual basis their capability, because if they're able to do that, then you're home. And last, please don't live in fear, because shit is going to happen to you. You have just started, my friend, and I wish you the best. But even if you're the most successful startup in the world, you will go through so much that you have no idea how it. A way to do that is the following, and this is true for anything, not just cold emails. Make a laundry list of all the reasons why someone would not reply. Every possible list, including he is an asshole. Like everything, every possible. And then rank them, descending order of impact. Pick the top 3, and every new version of that email should solve for those top 3 reasons. Keep playing around with it. It's not a template. It is positively unpredictable. If you're sending me a predictable email, I actually kid you not, I get entrepreneurial emails or founder pitches, which are like, title will be urgent. I don't know for who, but urgent. कौन सी दुनिया में ये लोग? Like कौन है ये लोग? कहाँ से इनकी ट्रेनिंग हुई है? Because somebody would have told them that that is how you send an email. It doesn't come as if it's our birth knowledge. But it is amazing how we don't even think about how the other person is going to receive it. So you're a founder, my friend, and I'm not going to let you easy on that. You're building products for the consumer and you don't know anything about the consumer. So you're predicting what they would want. Exactly the same way, your cold email is a product. I am the consumer. You have to think of what will make this work for me. Here's a tip. The email, if it could have been sent to anybody else as well.
I've been following you since last 2 years.
Thank you.
And the work that you are doing is very inspirational, and a lot of youth from India and from outside also is getting inspired from you. A lot of motivation, insight, learning, a lot of things from you. So whatever you are doing is very inspirational. And I would like to, I wanted to give you a small gratitude of gesture I wanted to give you.
Wow.
So I brought this for you, if you allow me to give you.
Who will say no to that? Wow. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, man. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And again, the follow-up question is that what was the very conscious evolution or change that you did in your personality or your journey?
Okay. I'm not going to go through the setback because that's a long story, but here's what I learned from that, or how I overcame that setback. 2 things, and that have helped me in my life every day, which is the same thing I said in the video as well. You don't ever do anything that you hate, and you show up every day. And that's it. You don't ever do anything that you hate, and you show up every single day. As hard as it is, as difficult as it is, as painful as it is, you show up every single day, because the pro of that. Okay, next. Thank you so much, man. I'm mindful of time. Sorry, please keep your question. Yes, thank you so much, sir. Rapper will be always nice. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ved. I came from NIT Warangal. So thanks for coming to Hyderabad. We really love you. So my question is, being a founder, it's almost always a leap of faith that you want to change something in the world. So when do you realize that utopian world that you have in mind?
When do you know is the right time to fire someone? When you start asking that question. When do you know is the right time to change your product? when you start asking the question. क्योंकि कोई ऐसे लकीर तो है नहीं कि यार ये this is the playbook, अब एक वक्त आ गया है. It is always in here. So the minute the doubt arises, there is something that is the germination of that, and you have to probe always, always. Now that might mean what you signed up for is not where you are, and that disconnect can be very overwhelming. At that point of time, you always have two choices: continue, but you don't ever know whether you'll reach here, or
eagerly waiting for you. Thank you. Yeah. So from the past months, I've been waiting to interact with you on Instagram Friday sessions, but unluckily, I didn't got the chance. But here I am.
who would have thought? Who would have thought? Awesome.
So my question is like,
Because I am here today because they asked me to, and we made it happen. What if Vijay had not sent me an email and said, why don't you come to T-Hub? I'm hoping that some of you feel inspired after this conversation. But what if he hadn't sent me that email? How would you have been inspired today? And the problem is, most of you leave inspiration to some random serendipitous event in your life. Oh, YouTube pe, arey wow, what a video, you see it and then you feel all goosebumpy. But what if that feed did not show up that day? What if I wasn't here today? What if somebody else that you randomly do something that inspires you every single day? Because if you don't, it is stupid for you to believe, arey ye ek session ab mujhe 2 hafte tak leke jayega. And then after 2 weeks, of course, T-Hub mein kuch aur ho jayega, and then fir se main inspire ho jaunga, and then fir se aur 2 hafte. That is the wrong way to live. It's a very unpredictable way to live, but negatively unpredictable because you don't even know what that impact would be. Make it positive and make it unpredictable of where that inspiration comes from. So don't leave inspiration to chance. That is
thank
my
you a
question.
lot, sir.
Thank you, man.
And one last question.
Sorry. Look at the line behind you.
It's just hi from my team. That's it.
Sorry?
My team is not here. They're working with the foundation organization called. They just said hi to you.
Thank you.
Irrespective of the outcome.
No, sorry, I didn't get the question. What is the power?
Power of taking the first step, irrespective of the outcome.
Okay, I wasn't prepared for that last question. What is the power of taking the first step irrespective of the outcome? I think that is the only thing that matters, because that is when you, after you've taken the decision. But we spend so much time in trying to take the right decision. But the powerful thing is to take a decision without knowing what that outcome will be, because that will set you up for a lot more. The agility to maneuver whatever circumstance you are in is the superpower. Last 2 साल ने अगर हमें कुछ भी सिखाया है, वो यही है that it's not the fiercest, most complicated, most comprehensive business plan that wins. The business that has the ability to maneuver whatever they are going through is the one that wins. You want to be that person who's taking the first step, saying, oh, something's happened in the world, I don't know what that means, but let's pivot to online, because nobody's stepping out right now. We don't know what that outcome will be, but we'll see. Those are the individuals that make shit happen. So thank you for that thought-provoking question. We are out. I'm really sorry.
Sorry, we are out of time now.
Emails is the best thing Sameer has, wherever you are. Power of taking the first step without knowing the outcome. You've just won yourself a hamper.
Please come over.
Which is not from Karan Johar.
In the meanwhile, who's the next one?
The next one is, I'll actually give it to Sameer for the cold email questions. Is he there? Yeah, he's there. Only because I'm feeling bad that I haven't answered your email. But you still have to improve. Yeah? Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for that question. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Is anybody clicking a photograph? No. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. You're almost coming as if you're not sure whether you asked the question or not. कि कोई और हाथ खड़ा कर नहीं रहा, मैं कर देता हूँ. Yeah, it was you. I recognize you now. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Good question. I hope you don't have to ever stop. But thank you. All the best.
Folks, you can keep your questions coming in at Twitter, @T-Hub Hyderabad. I don't need to mention Ankur's Twitter handle.
Facebook friends is not a thing anymore. Instagram followers, sorry, can't keep track. Email, best thing, I read all my emails. I swear when I say that. So please send me an email, make it worth my time to respond, and I'll be more than happy to respond. God bless you all the best with everything.
One more question.
I have to leave because I... All right, everybody! It's a good thing that photographs don't have audio in them. Okay, I'm now recording a video and you have to be at your loud.
For all our participants today, we request you to all settle down, please. Hope you all enjoyed the session. Thanks a lot for joining us. So next step on the agenda, as we discussed, is that we have tea and coffee also available. Tea, coffee and samosa also available. Please have that. Our vendors are doing it pretty well. We love that, and most of the delegates have loved that. So looking forward to have you all there as well. So any questions so far, guys? From the engagement, from the overview that we had given in the beginning of the session, any questions so far? Yes. Just check if it's working.
Hello. Hello. Firstly, thank you for organizing this event.
Suppose there is, I just started to laboratory program for the company and
at multiple levels, right? So we enable that through in the cohort itself. In fact, let's say you are in the funding readiness cohort. So the whole